Hello everybody, it is me, the Political Kid, and today is my second video. Go watch the other one that I did. But today we're going to do a video that I haven't done in a while, but honestly, because of the current political situation up north, I do want to kind of talk about. So, obviously, this year there was a Canadian election due to the kind of state of affairs in America. It really affected the Trudeau's administration in Canada by like all the tariffs, the kind of relationship that America has now, all the very erratic claims of the 51st state, which honestly is kind of a joke on some aspects, but when you have this kind of we have 10 times the population of Canada, and yeah, and we kind of dominate a lot of Canadian trade. When we say that we want to kind of have more control over our trade, it does cause a lot of it has a lot of worry up north. And especially in this recent election, it's kind of shown how the Americanization of Canadian politics has happened. So, in the Canadian system, they have a parliamentary system, which is kind of like Congress, and they do actually have their own Senate, but the Senate it's appointed, and there's a governor general, and the prime minister is the leader of the official party, which is basically the party with the most seats in the Canadian Parliament. So you could have a majority, which means you have more than half the seats, or half or more of the seats in the Parliament, or a minority. Well, is when you have like more than any other party, but you don't have a majority. And for the last decade, the Trudeau administration didn't have a majority, so they had to work a lot with the NDP. The NDP was the most left party there is, except when it's like to environmentalism, which is for the Green Party, which has one seat. The Liberals are kind of the center left, and the Conservatives are the center right. There are some other third parties like the People's Party and the other big one, the Bloc Québécois, which is basically just the Quebec Party, and they haven't gotten any seats outside of Quebec, so that's kind of it. And when Trudeau resigned, there was a big issue since like they would either appoint a more kind of Trudeau eccentric character for the leadership, or would they elect somebody else? And they did. It's Mark Carney. He had worked for the conservative leader Stephen Harper in the business administration. He had taken a lot of credit for the recovery after the Great Recession, and he had a lot of moderate agenda in business related things. He did have a lot of connections to the US, which wasn't really popular at the time, and the conservatives, and I'm going to point this out, if Kamala Harris somehow would have won the 2024 election in the US, the conservatives would be in power right now because of the kind of ties that the conservative party has, because the conservative party doesn't like is not like the Republicans, because the conservatives are center right, not right, like not so conservative. They're like moderate conservative. So, and also they are a very nationalistic party, which means they love to say how they would put Canada first. Um, it's really hard to do that when Trump supported the conservatives. He really hated the Liberal Party in Canada, which, and since Trump is probably the most um, is probably the enemy in Canadian politics, since he's kind of seen as the American big guy who wants to bully the Canadians. And because of this, the moderate liberal got a lot of moderate support, and due to this, other third parties like that were more left had to vote for liberals because they feared that if they just gave more votes to the NDP, that they would take away from liberals and that they would give it to the conservatives. Think about this like the 2000 election and kind of how that ended up because Ralph Nader he had a lot of support within Florida and he took away from that, causing Gore to lose in the 2000 election. That's kind of what happened. And third parties all lost. Heck, the conservatives, even though they lost the general election, they gained seats. And that's kind of what's been happening to Canadian politics. Sorry, it's my dog. There's two bigger parties because the Americanization of politics has caused this to happen. So basically, like, what happened after the election? Obviously, the conservatives lost. Heck, the leader of the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, lost his own seat. The NDP leader lost his seat. The Green Party leader barely won her seat. And the Bloc Québécois lost a lot. So, what really happened after this? Well, the Canadian economy kind of went up since, like, the drawback, like the retraction of the April Liberation Day tariffs, when that eventually happened, it caused the Canadian economy to get better. And since they've cut a lot of taxes from the Trudeau government to kind of gain support within moderates, the Liberals have gotten even more popular. And heck, so basically a few months ago, one person in Parliament switched from their party to Liberals because basically there's 342 seats, I'm pretty sure. At least I think. I'm not exactly sure, but somewhere around that. The Liberals won 168. They had a person switch from a party to the Liberals, and then just this month, a person again switched, so they're one seat away from a majority. And that basically means that they're pretty much like, they have so much control. Because, I mean, if you have a lot of moderates and a lot of leftists within your own parliament that would support your specific agendas, the Liberals dominate any policy that they want. Because if they want to propose something moderate, they could get conservatives to vote for it. If they want to propose something liberal, like more left, they could probably get an NDP, Green, or even the Bloc Québécois to vote for their agenda. They have a strong hold over their own parliament because of our politics. So this is more of a reminder. Your vote does matter in America, not just for your country, but for the domination of politics in others like Canada. So that's why I just gotta say, it's really interesting to see how, the third parties kind of fell out. It's kind of sad to see that since, Canada had this system where Americans looked at it like, oh, you could actually vote for other parties? That's cool. I mean, we do have third parties, but they never win. And that's kind of the whole point. So, us going after a lot of Canadian businesses caused their politics to become more like us, but with a leftist shift. That's pretty interesting, and that's why Canada has had an Americanization in politics. So that's it. Thank you guys. I'm going to post another video today, and I'll see you later. Bye.